Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. All right, it's Labor Day, although I do record this on September 1st, but it will post up on Labor Day. And so, hey, let's do a reading on labor in the United States. The Teamsters, I was reading an article on this. The Teamsters offered to speak at the RNC and the DNC. The RNC accepted the Teamsters' offer to speak, and the DNC did not. So the Teamsters did speak at the Republican National Conference, but not at the Democrats. And I believe it was the first time the Teamsters had spoken at an RNC event ever, or something along those lines. Not that that really matters. If it wasn't the first time ever, it was the first time in a really, really long time. The president of the Teamsters was basically saying, hey, I'm trying to represent our members and not just automatically saddle up with one political party or the other. Apparently in 1996, the judgment card popped up, they didn't pick either party. They remained neutral. So, and then Six of Coins comes up. As I'm about to say, Kamala Harris did agree to meet with Teamster Union leadership, although a date's not been set. So they didn't invite the Teamsters to the DNC, but that doesn't mean Kamala Harris isn't willing to talk with the Teamsters. Not sure why they wouldn't invite him, but hey, whatever. That might be a political thing. That may not have fit the theme of what they wanted to do. They might have had more speakers than they know what to do with. Who knows? I can ask, I suppose, but honestly, I'm not that interested. Well, maybe a little. Maybe I'll throw a four-carder on why they weren't asked. But let's look at how Harris's meeting with the Teamsters will go, and we can also look at the unions in general going forward in the United States. Okay? I think it's appropriate for Labor Day that we can look at that. Come on down. Let's take a look at this. Just real quick, we'll get some of the gossipy stuff out here. This is for entertainment purposes only. Why were the Teamsters not invited to the DNC? Just a little four-carder to provide a little bit of background and insight as to why maybe they weren't there. King of Cups, because Biden said so. King of Cups, Four of Cups, Wheel of Fortune. Look at all these cups here. It's Harris's decision. Underneath it was Harris's decision. And look at all these emotion cards here. Maybe the Teamsters may not have treated Biden very well. And from Harris's point of view, this is what you get. We didn't like how you did things. Maybe we can reach out and work something out. This was a message. It's either this guy, this could be the head of the Teamsters, has done things in the past that have rubbed Kamala Harris the wrong way, and there needs to be a reset. But this is, the reason why he was invited was a result of previous behavior. Unacceptable behavior, unacceptable actions. But center underneath it, to me, would be Kamala Harris saying no on that one. I don't know what those would be. And maybe that's not necessarily for us to know, but that's my guess. Now, the King of Cups could just be, hey, it was a big, giant celebration, and nothing's a bigger buzzkill than bringing these guys in here. It may not have fit the theme of the DNC, and that's entirely possible too. But to me, I get more that this was as the Teamsters were saying, we shouldn't necessarily fall in line behind a political party. I think Kamala Harris was also saying, don't automatically expect that we're going to give you the support that you want to. Basically, her saying, this is a two-way street. And, you hold a lot of power and influence, and so do I. So how are we going to handle this? things that I've done in the past, maybe we should let go and start a new chapter between the two of us. That's kind of the vibe I get for it. If it was done on purpose, there could be just a touch of petty on it. No, just to let somebody know that, hey, just because you're the head of the Teamsters and something like that doesn't mean you're privileged. If you're not, if you're getting a little bit big for your britches, something like that. Let's look at. What was the other thing I was gonna say? We're gonna look at will the Teamsters support the Democrats? But I think I just want to look at labor in general. What is the state of labor in the United States? Oh, crap. This could very well have something to do with things that were said or actions taken with Biden stepping in on the railway strike. I literally just did this reading for the Canadian railway strike on the Tarot of the Seven Seas channel earlier this week. And how Biden handled the railway strike different. Maybe there's little hard feelings on there. The Teamsters are the one that handled the railways in Canada. So it could be fallout from that. But regardless, what's the state of labor in the United States currently? Page of Swords. Cross with the Nine of Wands in the Tower. Not great. These are not cards that I would say are great. Page of Swords, kind of an immature process, or something new is starting with ideas. But it's crossed with the Knight of Wands. The penultimate battle. There may be some new idea coming in here, but, there's an ending coming on. I don't know if they're like, there could be new leadership coming in, or what could be happening here is the unions are ready for a new start, some fresh blood coming in. It's almost like it's time for the old guard to go and time for the new young dynamic leadership to come in. Things need to change with labor. Certainly, again, this could also be, look, you're talking with the Republicans. The Republicans they've been against labor my entire lifetime. They are the union busting party. Elon Musk is the poster child of what the conservatives have wanted all this time, which is to support big business and bust up unions. That type of thing. And, it's kind of funny because so here's like Elon Musk going into Germany or going into Sweden or, into European countries and saying, hey, we're not going to have your unions. And they're like, dude, welcome to the EU. We do things differently than you. And if you're not going to include the unions, we're going to strike. And in the EU, it's not just, the Tesla workers aren't the only ones striking. It's also the post office won't deliver license plates to people that have Teslas. Service industries go on strike and won't they won't do services for the Tesla plant. There's this coordinated effort to bring folks like an Elon Musk into the fold. It's like, you have these great ideas, that's great and everything, but we support the people because we've been through this before. We know what happens when you weaken the unions. Our society collapses. We're not allowing that to happen. So this might even be an EU-specific reading. I might have to switch channels on this one. In the past, we got the Moon card, lunacy, secrets. The unions themselves have a lot of shady dealings in the past. Let's just say, dealing with organized crimes. It's like they've been painted as like being kind of like an organized. The Teamsters can be a mob, just like the Italian mafia could be a mob. That type of thing. I know I've got viewers here that are members of the Teamsters, and when who was it? That one, was it a Texas congressman was wanting to pick a fight with the leader of the Teamsters, and Bernie Sanders had to tell him to, hey, we're in Congress, we don't act like that. The comment, it was from Cindy Loomis, I believe, was saying like, yeah, the thing is, you never fight just the president of the Teamster. There's 4 other big guys standing right by there, like kind of daring you to go ahead and do that and see what happens. That type of thing. Current situation is the Hierophant, but they're still a big organization. They're still powerful. They still have a lot of influence on it. The Emperor. Wow, look at these big old major arcana cards here. Overarching energy. This is about the leadership of the Teamsters. Am I getting... Is it people are coming up with new ideas for the labor union? Or maybe this is a rebirth of the labor unions. Again, when you have Elon Musk trying to bust it, the labor unions are like, yeah, we've been through this. We're not allowing this to happen again. We have power and influence over the government, and we are strong in that regard. Even though unions have been weakened by legislation, they're still strong. Maybe with the Harris administration coming in, or with this new generation coming in, there's fresh blood coming in to relieve the weary troops to give them that strength. More major arcana. Lesson to be learned is the Lovers. I think there's a rebirth in the unions. I do think there's going to be a rebirth in the unions. Again, it might be that the old guard goes and new ones come in, but there's a new strength coming here, and it's coming quickly. This, I think, like the older structure of the unions is going to collapse, and something new and powerful is going to come from it. It's almost like, it's mirroring the Democratic Party, that you kind of have to flush the old way of doing things and bringing something new and different to allow for continued control and influence in government policies. That's an interesting thing. And mind you, I'm not the first intuitive that would be on record for something like this. It just seems to be that Kim from Intuitive View has talked about this is the year of the Davies versus the Goliaths. It's very black and white. You're going to see who's exactly on what side. And watching the little guy take on the big guys and the little guy winning time and time again. And now, the unions are not the little guy, but they represent the little guys. And by taking a bunch of little guys and having 1 million strong membership makes you a big guy, and you can take on the big guys. Okay. Is there going to be a change in? Is there going to be a renaissance? That's what I want to ask. Is there going to be a renaissance with the unions coming forward with the new Harris administration? We'll do a 4-carder. 4 of Coins. I don't think so. I think there's still a holding on here. Offers you don't like. It's funny how that came up before. King of Swords, Knight of Cups, the Empress. I think what I'm getting here is with the Harris administration is the unions don't want to give up the gains that they've gotten, but sometimes you have to let go of some of the things you have in order to allow for new things to come in. Unions and corporations tend to be very adversarial. This may not be the unions. This could also be the corporations trying to hold on to their money, and somebody has to come in like an arbitrator. That's how corporations tend to go. They try and circumvent the unions by going to arbitration and taking away people's rights, and offering things that they don't like. But there's like a new path, and it's a false path forward. I think that's where we're going with this. I think Harris is going to start looking at binding arbitration and looking at how this favors corporations over unions and over individuals. I was asking about a renaissance in unions, but I think what we're going to see is, oh God, there you go. I'm talking about binding arbitration for individuals, but how about like the railway workers? You know, they were basically forced back to work by the Biden administration because they were trying to keep the economy going and not crash it. And, you know, sending both sides to arbitration where it was binding arbitration. I think that's a key point that really needs to be addressed. Okay, so let's look at binding arbitration. Is binding arbitration something that is going to be weakened, made more rare, something where the unions can flex their muscles? Because you neuter them, you kneecap them if you don't let them do what unions do, which is express, you know, threaten to strike and take away the company's ability to make money if they're not going to be fair with their workers. Is that what's going on? The magician card. I think we've hit it here. Part of the plan. Plan worth fighting that can work. Everybody wins, especially people. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it. There's going to be something about binding arbitration and working against it, or working to weaken how often it's doing. That's going to be the key for labor. It's going to, you know, because labor should be having a fighting chance. The whole point of threatening to strike is to cut a deal that doesn't, you don't want to kill the company. You want to get the best deal you can for your employees while allowing the company to thrive. Because if the company thrives, then the employees get more and more benefits from it. You don't want to be like Ebola and kill the patient in 5 to 7 days. You want, if the companies do well, the employees should do well. And that's not been what's happening. And when unions try and do something about it, it's kind of like bailing out the banks. They're too big to fail. With the economy recovering, having the railway line shut down for any extended time would have crushed the economic recovery. It would have been harmful to the United States. So Biden's now got to look at what's best for the U.S. versus what's best for the union workers on the railway lines. And, you know, the union's not real happy when the government sides with business. So I think Harris and company, they're going to start looking at that and trying to take their finger off the scales of that arbitration and let things go. Try and figure out some way where you don't crash the economy, but at the same time, allowing the unions to do what they need to do in order to get the best deals for their union memberships. And that's the way the union's supposed to work. If right now the pendulum has swung way on the side of corporations and corporate power, and it needs to swing back to individuals and people, and I believe that's what's going to be happening. So we'll leave it there. Happy Labor Day, everyone. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.